Hi there, and welcome to the Skylight Books author reading series. If you'd like to learn more about us and our many upcoming author events, please visit skylightbooks.com, where you can browse our inventory, buy books, and join our Friends with Benefits Club. You can also follow us on Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook. To speak to a real live bookseller, please call 323-660-1175. Thanks for your support, and enjoy.
Hello, thank you everybody for coming.
Hi everybody. Thanks for coming.
I'm just going to read an excerpt from Caca Dolce, a chapter called Gothorian, and then me and Mira are going to talk about some stuff.
That's right.
Okay, Gothorian. My first thought when I met Gothorian was that he looked like the corpse of Macaulay Culkin, only skinnier. He was pale and wore a black trench coat and talked about the Crow a lot. And though it might seem like a contradiction, he was also blonde, smiley, and outgoing. He had sickly, sunken eye sockets and a high voice that broke when he became excited. Listening to him squeak through a conspiracy theory about the death of Brandon Lee, I realized I was attracted to him. I mean, of course I was attracted to him. I had encountered very few male teenagers that I hadn't entertained perverted thoughts about. I was at that age, I guess, when even corpses made me horny. But there were so many obstacles to our love. For one, he professed his love to me several times, very soon after I met him, which I saw as a red flag, as well as a sign of questionable taste. Secondly, once I saw his ex-girlfriend in Walmart, and she screamed at me to stop fucking her boyfriend. And though I was excited by the idea that anyone would assume I was fucking anyone, she kind of terrified me. Thirdly, and maybe most important, Gothorian was having some kind of secret sex affair with my best friend Marcy. It was secret because she had a boyfriend. Marcy had picked me to be her new best friend a few months earlier. The prior school year, I'd had no friends or friend prospects, and figured my sophomore year would be the same. Then one day in gym class, Marcy ditched her until then best friend to walk laps around the field with me. We discussed the merits and flaws of Hot Topic, our current favorite bands. Mine was Smashing Pumpkins, hers was Dashboard Confessional, how much we missed Napster, and the many idiots we went to school with. She invited me over to her house that night, and we dyed our hair pink with Manic Panic. She wasn't like me. She was loud and made offensive jokes and lived comfortably in the assumption that everyone found her charming. I immediately loved her. I abandoned my desire to be alone at all times to do everything with Marcy, spending my lunch period in the snack bar next to her, filling cup noodles with hot water as a favor to the snack bar lady, who was a friend of Marcy's family, I guess, going to her house after school to make dinner with her grandma, staying up all night to console her about her tumultuous relationship, and fight about which stand-up comedians were funnier. Marcy's boyfriend introduced us to Gothorian, and the four of us hung out almost every weekend and on many school nights. Gothorian and Marcy's boyfriend were 18 and had cars, so we would drive around blasting System of a Down until we found a quiet park with no tweakers in it to sit and drink. The three of them were almost certainly taking drugs of some kind, but I was never told what drugs and somehow had no curiosity about it. Alcohol, on the other hand, big fan. Marcy's boyfriend and Gothorian always picked us up bearing disgusting bottles of watermelon schnapps, or hot damn, that I would have never picked out but that I drank greedily, often becoming blackout drunk. Once I was completely debilitated, Gothorian would wrap his trench coat around me and melodramatically promise me that everything would be okay, and that he would take care of me. "Can I kiss you?" he sometimes said, nailing the tone of wilted theatrical romance, his black lips and eyes already betraying the pain of expecting rejection. It was pretty cute. "Okay," I would say, trying to summon the strength to lift my head. Depending on variables completely unknown to me, Marcy would either give me a sexy, approving look or a pissed, jealous look. And depending on my fluctuating hormones and levels of patience with her, I would either care or not care about whatever look she was giving me. Marcy and I were impressed by the goth subculture Gothorian and Marcy's boyfriend took part in. Not just the black strappy clothes, black fingernails, and heavy eye makeup, which we immediately began imitating, but also the directness and openness about feelings of sadness and inner rottenness. I usually felt ashamed of my unhappiness, and always cried in the shower where no one could hear me or ask me what I was crying about or tell me to stop. But these people were cutting themselves in places that couldn't easily be hidden, where others would see it and know that it was meant for them to see. There was something so powerful about that. If Marcy and her boyfriend were fighting, we would hang out with other boys. Gabe, the much older Incubus fan. Tyler, the dweeby boy who would sometimes find us between classes and awkwardly give us drawings of various Looney Tunes characters that had clearly been traced from coloring books. Or Zach, the raver gamer I was in love with. My crush on Zach was a rebellion against myself. I knew he wasn't cute or cool or funny, didn't have any hobbies I related to, didn't seem sweet or nice, and never said anything interesting. But the lack of substance to my crush only fueled my interest in him. Logic doesn't have any role in love, I thought. This funny feeling in my heart, which feels both very good and very bad, is the only metric of love I'm concerned with. I sat between Zach and Tyler in English, and they would lean over my desk to make fun of each other, which, being a sad virgin for whom physical proximity to boys was my only known pleasure, I really enjoyed. "Where'd you get those pants?" Tyler said, a sarcastic jab at Zach's giant swishy parachute pants bungeed at the ankle. "PacSun," Zach said dryly. The pants were clearly not from PacSun. "Fuck you, dude," Tyler said. The teacher heard this and sent Tyler to sit in the closet, a common punishment from this particular teacher. Without Tyler around, my attempt at conversations with Zach seemed stilted. "Tyler's so weird," I said. "I hate that guy," Zach said. I loved how angry and sarcastic Zach was. I loved that he hated things so openly. I wanted to hate things too, instead of feeling the detached resentment I felt about most things. I wanted to feel passionate about something. I wanted to hate Tyler, if only to have something in common with Zach. But Tyler was a necessary lubricant in my conversations with Zach, and I liked him for that reason. Also, he was funny and easy to talk to and had a cute center part and smelled a little like warm bread. "I hate him too," I said. I had touched Zach's penis once on a road near a river. We were both very drunk, and he asked me to touch it, so I did. I had cupped and petted the flaccid thing for close to a minute, unsure of what was supposed to happen. My wrist was getting tired from being pressed against his stomach underneath the still buckled silver-studded belt that held up his gigantic denim parachute pants. As we stood in the middle of a mostly unused dirt road a few yards away from our friends. Should I squeeze it, I thought? Should I milk it? What should I do, I said. "Never mind," he said, "you're drunk." It was a relief to let go. One night at Marcy's house, Marcy tricked me into eating a significant portion of pot brownie by telling me that it was a regular brownie that she had made herself, and that it would hurt her feelings if I didn't at least taste it. After I ate it, she disappeared into another room to argue with her boyfriend on the phone. I wrapped myself up in a blanket and breathed deeply in and out, convinced I was experiencing a panic attack. Gothroy had knocked on Marcy's door, and when I answered it, he asked me to go outside. He wanted to talk about his feelings. "Is this happening?" I said. "Are you here?" "I like you so much," he said, initiating a hug. "I used to think about hurting myself all the time. But now whenever I start thinking about that, I think about you instead. I feel so much better lately. You are a wonder. I've never met anyone like you." I started imagining that he was talking to me about raspberries. I imagined that he was trying to offload raspberries onto me because the raspberries weren't very good and he had to get rid of them. He had so many raspberries that he would have to devote the rest of his life to getting rid of them. I imagined Goth Ryan becoming the CEO of a raspberry offloading company that marketed the raspberries to people by using slogans like, "I like these raspberries so fucking much," and "The way I feel about these raspberries is so much better than the way I normally feel about raspberries," and "Buy these goddamn raspberries or I'll fucking kill myself." It was endearing to me that he thought he could sell raspberries using emotional manipulation. That kind of naivete was sweet in a way. In retrospect, I see that I was super stoned. I'm going to try to get a job, he said. I want to take care of you. I nodded and rubbed my increasingly dry and puffy eyes, simultaneously acutely aware of, frustrated with, and incapacitated by my role in the universe. Something was weird about this. Ryan seemed to be saying he was in love with me, but I knew he was sleeping with my best friend, and seemed not to notice that I didn't love him back, even though I kind of did. So what was the problem? I couldn't remember what I was trying to think about. What was the question? I need to go inside and ask Marcy something about fruit, I managed to say. Okay, I'm going to take off then, he said. He kissed me on my temple and held my hand as I moved away from him, and we maintained intense eye contact as I went inside and closed the door. Ryan is here, Marcy said. Where the fuck did he go? I said, I feel really weird right now. You should just go out with him already. He's totally in love with you. He didn't even come in to say hi to me. I think I might be having a seizure. Oh, you poor thing, she said with a big smile. You ate too much pot brownie. Here, lie down, sweetie. God damn it, Marcy. Everybody has to grow up sometime, she said, still smiling. God, I fucking hate you. Marcy and I quickly became inseparable frenemies. I didn't trust her with any kind of secret, and emotional support seemed to go one way from me to her. But we were both weird and encouraged each other's weird behavior, and I enjoyed the fact that we didn't completely like each other. I didn't expect much from her, so she couldn't really disappoint me, and I didn't have to worry about hiding the unappealing parts of myself from her. More importantly, Marcy was my social crutch, and I was her scapegoat. She made all the plans, got boys to hang out with us, and found us rides everywhere. And I would take the fall if anything happened, so she wouldn't look bad in front of her grandma or boyfriend or people she had crushes on, or whoever else she happened to be worried about impressing at any given time. She would say, "Sorry we were out so late, Grandma. Chelsea wanted to make out with Ryan all night." And her grandma would tell me that if I wanted to keep sleeping over, I would have to start going to church with them. Later, Marcy would tell me, "Don't worry, I'll make it up to you," and invite Zach over to drink Jägermeister and watch TV with us. I was being mobilized and crippled simultaneously, but I was fine with this setup. I think I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thanks for reading.
You're welcome.
So, I have some questions for my friend Chelsea here about her wonderful book. And then after that, we'll take some questions from you guys if you have any. So my first question is, I feel like you and I get along because, or at least partially because, we both have a pretty dark sense of humor. I feel like that's, for me, that happened because, or partially because, I was sort of trying to reframe past events. I sort of figured out that if I was able to have a dark sense of humor about something like a difficult childhood, then you can sort of maintain control over those events and sort of, go back and feel like, things are okay.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah, and I wonder if you feel like there is a point in your life that you can point out where there was a specific shift from a normal sense of humor to a dark sense of humor, like realizing that you had these experiences that could be turned into humor, or if you just have always had a dark sense of humor since you were a little baby.
That'd be so cute.
Goth baby.
Yeah. I don't know if I can pinpoint. I think, being a loner in high school was probably pretty pivotal because I was just so ashamed of myself and had to turn that around somehow in my head.
Yeah. The humor was sort of a way to, feel a little bit better about being a loner.
Or just to enjoy it or find something good about it.
Yeah. Definitely.
I don't know. What was it for you?
I mean, I think it was the same. I think, I got to high school and sort of realized that, honestly, I think in high school I was just regular emotional and maybe hadn't gotten to the humor part yet. Mm-hmm. And then I left high school and was sort of it's so insane how many bad things have happened already. There's either you cry or you laugh, right? Yeah. And you sort of realize that that's where the currency is in the ability to make people laugh from difficult situations, which is something that I found in this book over and over again, and that's part of the reason I liked it so much, at least.
Thank you. It's cool to make people cry too, though.
Also true. Love making people cry.
So good.
So another thing I wanted to talk about was in the book, you do talk a lot about female friendships and the difficulties that happen with female friendships growing up. I found it very relatable. I think that, you know, in adolescence, girls have these really nuanced, like, horrifying relationships that lead to, like, catastrophic emotional blow-ups in, like, a way that doesn't happen to me with adult female friendships. It's something that, you know, it's an emotional texture that really only occurs when you're sort of in puberty and having all of these feelings and then sort of like not able to have an outlet for them. And for me, result of that was that when I was like later in my teen years, I sort of started befriending boys because they were a bit easier and I didn't feel so afraid of them in terms of like their ability to make me cry.
Women are so complicated.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's, and when you're a teenager, when you're a female teenager, I feel like everything is just like a mess.
Totally.
You are figuring out your hormones and figuring out your role in society and like within this high school hierarchy. So, and girls are just so intellectual, I feel like.
I was gonna say.
And boys are just kind of simple.
Yeah, women at least like they use their words in a way that men don't. You know, like a woman in at least in high school and in middle school, to me it was like girls, you know, were able to bully me really effectively. Yeah. They were able to make me feel like really bad.
Say the exact right thing to like bring someone to tears.
Right. And I guess like my experience of you has been like, for those who don't, Chelsea and I have been like a lot of book tours together that were all women, and like my experience of you has been very much based in female friendship, and it seems that you now have a lot of female friends, and I wonder if you had an experience like mine where maybe you befriended teenage boys and realized that they were like just as bad if not worse, or if just growing up sort of led you to have a different value in your female friendships in life than in high school.
I think my opinion on it is that teenage girls are terrible and they just grow out of it. And once they do, they're amazing. And I mean, for them sometimes, but
right, because they still have all of that intellect that led them to be able to be so effectively hurtful, but they know to not be hurtful.
So you end up with smart women who are like in touch with their feelings, and that's awesome.
And even I feel like now as an adult, like if I see a woman who's like not smiling to make a situation more comfortable, or somebody who's like maybe even like a little bit tough or rude, I'm like, yeah, I like her. Like she's my friend. Like that's like the kind of girl that I'm friends with now, versus when I was young, that's the kind of girl who I'd be like, oh fuck, like she's gonna make me cry like in front of everybody, and I can tell. Yeah, and she would have, exactly.
She had it figured out.
Yeah, fully. So another aspect of your book that, at least for me, was really relatable, was just talking about your relationship with your young mom. So according to your book, your mom had you when she was 17. My mom also had me when she was 17.
She had turned 18. So.
Okay, well,
but yeah.
Sorry.
just
FYI. She was a legal adult. And so throughout the book, like I've noticed that her youth is sort of reflected in your relationship with her. Like she is a mother first and foremost, but she's also a friend, because in a way, you know, you guys kind of grew up together, and that's at least what I felt with my mom too. And there's a quote that I wanted to read from your essay on vandalism that really reminded me of my mom, and will lead into my next question. So this essay that Chelsea wrote is, if you haven't read the book, about her experience with being obsessed with toilet papering houses. There's a whole, it's very funny, but this one quote, she said, "It was my mom who had first mentioned toilet papering. You guys have never toilet papered a house," she had said. "Ever? How weird." That first night, my friends and I left through the sliding glass door in my bedroom, my mom whispering behind us, "Don't get caught, I'll leave the light on for you guys." And so that quote specifically, to me, really shows an aspect of motherhood that I guess tends to maybe diminish with age, for better or for worse, which is sort of the willingness, you know, to allow your kids or even enable them to sort of get into childhood mischief, because you remember what an essential part of a happy childhood that is, because you're still a young mother, so you can easily look back to your adolescence and say, well, I had really a fun time toilet papering houses as a child. Why wouldn't I want my child to have that experience? And I'm just wondering if that had an effect on who you are today, or what effect you think that had on who you are today, your relationship with your mom?
Well, I think part of it is also that my mom was young enough to remember, like, how important it felt to be cool, and she really wanted me to be cool.
Yeah.
And so I think one effect was that I really felt uncool, that, like, my mom had to tell me how to be cool.
Yeah.
And I think I've definitely brought that into adulthood. But, like, as far as, like, I forget what you said.
Oh, just I was just more like wanting to know, I guess, about, like, I feel like having a young mom sort of led me to understand natural consequences in my life in a way that I wouldn't have otherwise. And I sort of felt like, she would let me get into trouble, and then I would understand how to not get into trouble many years later. Like, obviously, like, I got into a lot of trouble before that. But do you feel like that was a benefit to you, or do you feel like it was more of a hindrance? Because I go back and forth. I feel like sometimes, like, having a young mom is great, and being her friend is great, and it's like a super specific and unique relationship that I love. And also, I've had to go through years of therapy, so, like,
I think there's less guidance, maybe.
Right.
And you just, are encouraged to, like, figure it out. And so, there's definitely, like, pros and cons, I would say.
For sure. Do you think it helped you, like, pursue a career in the arts, to sort of have that in your upbringing?
Yeah, I mean, maybe a more mature mother would have discouraged it.
So, follow-up question. If I really wanted to toilet paper someone's house right now, like if I, say, had an ex who was, like, really mean to me or something, would you toilet paper a house with me?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, good.
We're going to do it.
Yeah. Follow-up question. Have you ever done vandalism that was more harmful than toilet papering a house? For example, I have a friend who keyed someone's car. It really wasn't me. It was a friend. And I'm wondering if you ever had, like, more intense experiences with vandalism.
Not really. I, like, did a little bit of spray painting, but not really.
That's innocent enough.
Yeah.
So, let's see. So when people ask me what I do, I usually say I'm a writer, even though I actually draw and paint just as often as I write. And I feel like you're one of the only other people I know who has that similar issue. And I wonder if you ever struggle with labeling yourself as an artist. Like, do you ever, when someone asks you, what do you ever not quite know how to respond?
Yeah. I mean,
like,
I don't even know what they're asking when they say that. Like, I don't know. What do I do?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you say normally?
I'm unemployed.
And if they... That's what I'm going to do from now on. I'm unemployed. I don't do shit. Like, nothing. Just hang the fuck out.
Yeah, it is really awkward. I don't really like labels in general. It seems like if you, even to say I'm a writer, it feels like someone should be paying you a paycheck.
Right, yeah.
And that's not, it's like...
Yeah, it doesn't really work like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there definitely is this sort of pressure to label yourself under one category of art, because if you try to say, like, well, I'm an illustrator and a writer, then people sort of assume that one or the other is, like, less important, or you're less good at one or the other, and sort of...
Both sound shitty, too, to just say.
Just to be real.
It sounds bad.
Yeah, it sounds like you do nothing. That's like...
I'm an artist. It sounds not good.
Yeah,
it sounds like you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, and we don't know what we're doing, so...
True.
So I wanted to read a quote from what I think was my favorite essay in the book. This is an essay about, well, you'll see. I stopped using spoons one day. I was becoming weird, I knew, and it didn't seem like the good kind of weird, like the eccentric, arty weird that could be appreciated by other people. It seemed like the bad, dark kind that could unravel a person if it got out of hand. So...
I didn't use spoons.
Yeah, so I have another quote here. Basically what she did was she was going through a time in her life, and correct me if I'm wrong, where there was a lot of, like, bullying and out of control things happening, and so what she decided to do was to stop using spoons altogether. And
obviously.
And so And so, like a normal person does. And then, so the essay goes along, and she talks about feeling generally alienated, and it culminates with a very cruel boy asking you to prom as a joke. And then after that, you talk about coping with that by denying yourself more types of silverware. So she goes on and she says, "Let's kick this spoon thing up a notch," my inner monologue said. I had gone without spoons for 8 months, and I barely gave it a thought anymore. It didn't feel like a restriction anymore. I needed to make it more laborious again. And so this instinct to sort of needlessly control aspects of your life that have nothing to do with the reason why you feel out of control, again, is something that I really relate to and that I've done before, but I have never ever heard of a person like not using a kind of silverware. Like I feel like normally it's like you monitor your food intake, or you keep your house insanely clean, or something like that. And I wonder if there's what other things have you done from that same urge to sort of control other aspects of your life when you feel more out of control, that like it just seems like, where did that instinct come from and what else has it manifested in?
This seems really heavy.
I mean, feel free to not answer it if you want. It was kind of an excuse just to read the spoon essay, which I really love.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, we can move on to another really heavy question if you want.
Okay.
The next one's
I will
pretty
say
heavy.
that since I wrote this essay, someone has told me they also didn't use spoons for a time.
Really? Wow.
I was impressed by.
It makes me feel like maybe I should try not using spoons. Like maybe next time
It's
I want to.
really easy.
Damn. See, but I do eat like a lot of like cereal and oatmeal.
Oh,
which
yeah. You're covered. With a fork, it's fine.
Okay, so then I have, for my last questions, so I have 3 more questions left. My first question is, if you could say anything to yourself at age 13, what would it be?
I would say, I love you, you sweet girl. I really would.
That's beautiful. That's very sweet. Okay, one of the essays in the book, you talk about getting a colonic, and so yeah, so I wanted to read a quote about your experience getting this colonic, which was not good. I tried to keep breathing, but I was too sweaty and nauseous, and I was becoming disoriented. The machine wasn't working. The water wasn't leaving my body the way it was supposed to. I was afraid I was going to pass out. She pulled the tube out of my anus, and I ran to the toilet on the other side of the room, watery poo dripping down my legs. I released into the toilet and started silently weeping while thinking, I don't understand, over and over in reference to what felt like every single fucking thing in the universe. Now, I seem to remember being on tour with you and driving in a van, and you telling me that you actually got another colonic after that.
Yeah, I did.
Why? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, someone convinced me that it was just like like a one-time bad thing that happened, and that it would be fine if I just tried again.
And was it?
And it was the same.
It was the same experience. like the whole watery
I shat on myself again.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
No, and that was the last time you got a colonic, right?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm shocked that you went back. I would not. Why did you go back? I
was manipulated.
Just because your people you knew were telling you that it was going to be okay this time? God, I'm so sorry. I'll never make you do that. It's terrible. Yeah. Okay, and my last question before we take questions, if you guys have any, was, do you feel like art school was worth it, and would you recommend that other people go to art school?
No. If you have the money to go to art school, yeah, definitely go. If you don't, then maybe it's not right for you.
Yeah, not worth it.
I don't regret going because it got me out of a shitty town, and I'm not sure if I would have left if I didn't go to college. So, yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe if you're
Everyone
in a shitty
should
town,
go.
you need to go out or something.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just too complicated because I'm also fucked forever financially. So
yeah, the debt is not good, huh?
Yeah.
So maybe go to art
Not
school.
good. Think about it real hard.
Yeah, just think
or
about
not
it
at
a
all.
Right. Now, if anyone has any questions in the audience, I think we'll take those. Yeah.
So I want to know which town you grew up in and where you went to school, and because you're of a different generation than I am, and I really think it's really bad, this whole debt thing, because we didn't have to deal with it. I went to Columbia University in New York, and it was like maybe $5,000 a semester tops.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God.
So I think what's happening to you guys is like criminal. Can you give me some idea of the debt you're living with?
I have about like 60,000 in debt currently. And I'm pretty lucky because I got scholarships and stuff. Yeah.
Where'd you go to school and where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Clear Lake, California, which is a couple hours north of the Bay, and I went to college at California College of the Arts. Yeah.
You're really warm, vulnerable, beautiful voice.
Thank you.
I think people can be funny, but to get that other part right, it's really hard for people in the right place. Makes you feel like you're going to really do well if somebody can pay that debt off.
Yeah, if anyone's out there.
If anyone wants to pay Chelsea's debt, please come to the front. Any other questions? No?
No one has
All right.
anything.
Would you consider getting a colonic again? Like if you would have friend and get like support about it?
He wants you to get a third colonic. That's what this guy wants. Even after
This is
all
my
that.
friend Julian. He loves poop.
Your friend.
I don't think so. Not even for you.
Oh, okay.
Were you the one who convinced her to get the second colonic? Be honest.
I'll go with you.
It sounds like you want to go.
Don't get peer pressure, Chelsea. Don't let him do it. You're stronger than this.
Let me think about it.
Any other questions?
Nobody else will.
Sure.
So, internet malaise has been used to describe you. So, how would you look at that? 'Cause that's not something.
I don't know what that means. I don't know
Sorry,
what
what'd you
that
say? Internet
Yeah, it's
malaise?
internet.
means. Just like being, like,
Like sad online?
I'm not online that much.
Yeah, you're like way less online than a lot of people I know,
I don't know.
actually.
I don't know. Yeah.
We have another question
sure.
over here.
So since this is your biography, or autobiography, and you wrote a lot of like hard experiences, I'm sure. And was it hard for you to write everything, or was it a relief to put that on paper? And I don't know. Do you? Yeah. Was it
Yeah.
a way for you to? Feel
Yeah, it was hard, and it was also a relief. I feel like I've really let a lot of these experiences go now that they're on paper and they're stories. I think I have like a lot more distance than I had before, so that's been really good. And especially for these stories, which are kind of like, I feel like ones that were really nagging at me, and I needed to do something with them. So yeah, it's been great to do it. Sure.
My question is for both of you. I'm just going to say, once you've been branded as funny, like, quite a bit, do you feel the pressure to kind of, like, keep being funny all the time in your texts, online, like, wherever else?
I feel like we've both talked about like reading and how it's like doing live readings. You get, when people laugh, you're like, oh, they like it. But then if it's something not funny that you're reading, it's hard to tell if the audience is liking it or just not paying attention anymore.
Yeah, being in front of people is definitely like a hard experience, and you want to feel accepted. So a good way to do that is to try to be funny, and so there's
It's like a concrete response.
You
to,
can
like,
hear
what you're
people
doing.
appreciating.
Yeah. Right.
Like I have read serious things. I think you've read serious, like quiet things,
Yeah.
and it's just dead silence.
Yeah.
Because people you can't. What are you supposed
It's
to
like
do?
that's how it's supposed to be, kind of.
Yeah.
But at the
You're
same
like,
time, yeah, when you're on stage, it feels like you're talking in a wall.
Yeah, it's so hard.
They're not gonna like cry loudly or anything like that. Like you're never gonna get that emotional response.
But I think it's also just our personalities. Like I think
Right.
we both try to be funny in social situations. Usually.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
A little bit clown-like.
Yeah, we're clowns. We're like court jesters, basically. I think we'll do like one more question. So,
Yeah.
Was it when you guys were on tour together when the tampons went missing? I don't know why, but that just kind of stuck with me. Like the most hilarious online feud.
I mean, that was maybe one of the funniest experiences of my whole life, to be honest.
The most mysterious for me.
We were in Miami on vacation, and we both had our period, and so we bought a big box of tampons that was in the bathroom.
I bought the big box.
She
of
bought them
tampons.
with her money, and then I
were
claimed them
mine.
as my own because I was in her hotel room, and I was
They
also
went missing
bleeding.
out of our hotel room.
They're just gone. And Chelsea spoke for like a really long time to the front desk, being like, where the fuck are my tampons? And then they kept hanging up on her, and she kept calling back and saying, hi, it's me, tampon girl again.
Eventually, they brought me 3 shitty tampons.
They
with,
were huge. Like,
No.
they got you.
At first, they brought me 3 shitty tampons. Like the really bad ones,
They're like
not
in
even
a tube,
Tampax.
you know, like the not name brand ones.
Mm-hmm. And then I had to keep hounding them, and they finally bought me more tampons.
But they bought you like a box of like XXXL tampons.
Yeah.
Like they bought the biggest possible tampons they could buy, I think, just
was-
like to
yeah.
bother her.
Be like, okay, lady. Okay, tampon girl.
Meanwhile, everyone in the hotel was accusing each other of having stolen the tampons.
Yeah.
Chelsea was like, Mira, was it you? And I was like, no, I bet Chloe did it. Like, it was for sure her. It was like, it was
Still
a big
haven't
issue.
figured it out.
Still have no idea. Tampons are gone. All right, well, I think Chelsea's going to be signing books, if you guys are interested in that.
Mira's books are here, too.
Yeah, mine are here too. It's about Chelsea tonight, though. you can buy both of our books up front. And, thanks guys for coming.
Thank you, goodbye.
You've been listening to the Skylight Books author reading series. Don't forget, you can listen to this and all our other great podcasts at skylightbooks.com. Thanks again for stopping by, and we hope to see you soon.